Hey, I'm catiewahwah and you're watching The Record Review. Hey you! So today I'm going to be reviewing something, but not an album, something a bit different. I'm actually going to be reviewing a vinyl subscription service called Flying Vinyl. So Flying Vinyl is one of these monthly subscription boxes. I know that now you can basically get a subscription box for pretty much anything. You can get like beer at the month, beauty boxes, random stuff in a loot crate. And there have been a few of these vinyl subscription services sort of hanging around. There was of course the debacle about VNYL. There are a lot of really interesting videos about that. I would recommend Off the Record's review of what happened there because it's really comprehensive. There are also services like Vinyl Me Please where they do a curated album of the month and it's like a special edition and it seems quite cool, but none of those have ever really appealed to me personally because I take a lot of pride in how I curate the vinyl that I buy. And honestly, I just really like shopping for vinyl. I like digging in the crates. I like that thing of finding exactly what you want and maybe you don't know that you want it until you see it. And you know, really searching for specific albums. And it's just a very, very enjoyable experience for me. And I think that's something that a lot of people who collect vinyl now are really into and a lot of people are really getting into is the whole experience of physically shopping. So it feels a bit counterintuitive to then put aside part of my vinyl budget towards a subscription box of someone else telling me what I'm gonna like hearing. But Flying Vinyl kept popping up in my Facebook feed. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but those weirdly specific and perfect Facebook adverts that are completely targeted to you. I don't know how much tracking they're doing, but I keep getting ones that are like exactly what I want. And so I saw this one for Flying Vinyl and I just wanted to find out a little bit more about it. And the more I read about it, the more I was like, okay, maybe this one is actually worth trying. Flying Vinyl is a bit different from other subscription services. Rather than sending you albums, they send you singles. So every month you pay £20, which includes postage and packaging within the UK, and then in return you receive a little box of goodies. So you can already kind of tell just from the packaging alone that these are people who really care a lot about vinyl. I actually filmed the unboxing just so you guys will have a visual reference of what I'm talking about as I review the box. But before I go into the box specifically, I just wanted to say a little bit about what it was about Flying Vinyl that made me want to subscribe to it when all of these other subscription services kind of haven't managed to woo me. What I like is that first of all, it's not one album, it's 5 different singles, so you get a little taster of 5 different bands. What I also like about it is it seems like the guys who run it are London based and they just go and they listen to a huge array of music and they just figure out what they like, what sounds cool, whether it's a signed band or like a completely unknown band, and then they go and they actually get exclusive records pressed for the service. So all of these records are completely exclusive to Flying Vinyl. You can't get them anywhere else. It's kind of like one of those old record clubs or like just being on the mailing list of a really exclusive indie label. It's really cool and it has that real feel that you're like discovering new things, and a lot of these bands are people who are gonna go on to be pretty big. I also really like that they send you singles as opposed to albums because personally I'm quite specific about the albums that I buy, and even if they do seem quite like disparate, I like to pick the album and I like to love the album because it's a big commitment. But in terms of singles, I'm a lot more open to just like try a random single. It's just like 2 songs, right? And they're usually pretty inexpensive. And one of the reasons that I wanted to make this video is that when I first signed up for the service, I was intrigued by what it was about, but I didn't really understand what I would be getting. And I tried to look for some videos about it, and there were a couple, but I'm just hoping that maybe for anyone else out there who's heard of this service, who's trying to decide whether they want to sign up for it, maybe this video will help you out. Maybe you'll be able to see a bit better like whether this is something that you're gonna like. It is £20, but again, that seems to be pretty standard for most of these vinyl subscription services, and the stuff you get is really awesome. The box I'm reviewing is the December box. So it comes in this box and it says the revolution will not be digital. So each month you receive 5 singles from 5 different bands, and at least one of those is colored vinyl. You also receive a zine which tells you a little bit about each of the bands, and then you also get a cool piece of artwork. So I'll be going through each of those for the December box. The box kind of becomes a little holder for 7 inches, so if you don't have any good storage for your 7 inches, these are really great. This month it comes with the little zine which is issue 7, December 2015, and it's got an image of the Temperance Movement performing, who are one of the bands who are featured in this box. And on the back it just says, "Thanks for supporting new music on vinyl." And so, just like a quick view inside, I fell in love a little bit when they had "Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animals" on there. Apparently they've got some big stuff coming up next year, which is exciting. And then they've got like a mini profile of each band that they've featured this month just in here. So it's like a nice little listener's guide as well. Also in this box there is a couple of little leaflets. So there's a Temperance Movement leaflet advertising their new album White Bear. There's also a little private message here to Flying Vinyl subscribers, which I haven't listened to yet, but I will. There's also just something about Swim Deep Mothers, that their album is out now. And then the exclusive artwork this week is a Swim Deep Fueiho Boogie. It's like the lyrics with some images of them as well. I should mention before I go through the bands that all of these are considered sort of indie, either rock or electronic, but it is only really indie bands. That appeals to me because that's the kind of music that I like, but if that is not really your favorite type of music, then you're probably gonna want to wait for them to maybe do another genre specific box. So, the bands. So the first record this month is the Fueiho Boogie by Swim Deep. I really like the artwork on this. It does tie in with the album artwork, but it also feels a little special. So this single is a bit different from the others in that it is one song across two different sides. I'm not sure how well it works having just one song broken up between the A side and the B side. It's a little bit weird because it kind of stops and you have to get up and flip it over, but then it kind of adds in this personal involvement, like you have to be involved in creating the song. So I kind of like it in an abstract way. The song is actually named after a Japanese law which outlawed dancing in clubs. So it's a little bit jokey, that kind of gives you a feel for what Swim Deep are like. It's a cool little track and it is only available as a single through this specific collaboration, which is really cool. And then their music is a mix of like indie, electronic and rock. So they do have synths in there, but there's also some really great bass lines and like nice drums. So it's that kind of bridge between the two. This is also on colored vinyl. It's on clear yellow vinyl. Their next single this month was from the Temperance Movement, and it is White Bear A-side with Time Won't Leave on the B-side. This is actually the title track from their new album, and again the artwork really ties in with their album artwork. This is actually a little unusual this month. There are two colored singles, so this is on white vinyl, which is very, very pretty. Temperance Movement are Scottish. They are a little bit blues rock. I would kind of describe them as very like substantial rock. You know, they're like a little bit almost country. You can imagine them on a Sons of Anarchy soundtrack. The B-side, Time Won't Leave, isn't actually on the LP, but I think I actually preferred it. I mean, it's a really, really good song. And what I liked about this single in the box, what I really enjoyed, is that I don't think this is something that I would have normally picked up. I don't think that I'll be buying the White Bear album necessarily, like I hadn't planned to, but now from listening to this, and especially on vinyl, I might. So this is something that I like about this box, is that it has introduced me to a few new artists, not just ones who I would listen to because they seem like they're similar to other artists I enjoy, but also artists who are similar to artists who I don't enjoy, but I do enjoy these ones. Like, I don't know, I really enjoy it. The third single this month is from LANKS. This artwork is kind of psychedelic, kind of weird. I think it's like water patterns or like paint patterns. There's Hold Me Closer and Aurelia. So LANKS is an Australian artist and it's kind of a morose electro folk music. It's gorgeous, it's a bit odd, but I found something really mesmerizing about the mix of these slower vocals with this fast electronic beats underneath. The B-side, Aurelia, on this, he almost sounds like Anthony, so I was very excited. I mean, there's something really interesting about what he's doing, and I think it's quite different from what is very popular at the moment, and even what's popular in alternative music. I'm not actually sure if LANKS is signed to a record label. A lot of these other artists, they're signed to small labels and then it actually says like this was produced by the label. But on the back of this, it doesn't really have any information about a label. If you know of LANKS, if you know if he's signed, I'd be really interested to know. Otherwise, he's just really interesting artist and I wish I could hear more from him. I think he's got like an EP out and he might be having an LP out at some point, but for the moment, not sure. The fourth single in the December box was a double A side from Magic Potion. I adore this artwork. I think it's really cool. It's Booored and Deep Web. I have to admit, this is my absolute favorite single from this month's box. They're a Swedish fuzz pop band. They're kind of weird and I love that. They're slightly offbeat music, you know, it's very casual. It's basically shoegaze. And Magic Potion have had one EP, Melt, so far. I actually detected, like, I don't know if I'm being weird here, but I actually detected kind of a Lou Reed hint to the vocals. Let me know if you hear the same thing, because I don't know if I'm just being weird. The double A, Deep Web, I really, really love. It's quite gentle, it's mostly instrumental, and it's just a very, very beautiful song. The fifth and final band from the December box is Holy-esque. And this single is Tia with Oslo on the B-side. They've got an album out in February called At Hope's Ravine. They're Scottish, again, there's two Scottish rock bands here. The vocals are quite slurred, there's almost a bit of like the boss in there. I think the best way to describe Holy-esque is, as the guys from Flying Vinyl did, as power-driven rock, which is really true. It's that kind of anthemic, like really big sound. It's a really imposing rock music, but it's also quite uplifting. And I have to say, I really enjoyed the recordings and the way that they were mixed. It sounds like, particularly on the song Oslo, like it was recorded at a festival, and there's that real sense that they're kind of feeding off of a live energy, even though presumably it was actually in a recording studio. And I also really enjoyed them in the composition of the box. Me, always overanalyzing everything, I thought of the whole box as like a playlist, right? Because I assume that when the guys put it together, they think, right, we're gonna put this band in first, then this band, then this band, then this band. So ending with Oslo felt like a really cool way to end the set list for the box. And I don't know, maybe people will think I'm overthinking that, but I think that people think a lot. So I assume that there's a lot of thought gone into that, and I really enjoyed like ending my listening experience with Oslo. So that was Flying Vinyl's December box. If you guys enjoyed that, like, I am definitely planning on staying subscribed, so I could definitely do this every month. I mean, I get a box, I just look at it, right? If you guys want to see what's in it. I really, really think that this is one of those boxes where the guys behind it are actually putting thought into it and not just trying to make money. I mean, kudos to them that they're making money through it as well, I presume, but like, they are really highlighting unknown bands. So I think that, you know, if you're in the market for a subscription box, I think if you're trying to decide between a few and you want something that's going to give you a lot of different range, expose you to new things, Flying Vinyl is not a bad way to go. Like, it's actually kind of a really cool way to go. If you like the singles, then you can buy the albums. If you don't like them, then it's just a single. You can give it away, or you can like just play it when you're in the mood for it. I think actually, because I've enjoyed this month's band so much, I'm going to make a playlist of either the songs from these singles or singles from that band or artist anyway, so I'll do like a little link and there'll be a little hidden one that you can find if you want to just have a taster of what all these different bands were like. Anyway, thank you very, very much for watching this video. If you liked it and you're not already, be sure to click subscribe. It's super easy and I will be very, very grateful. Also, be sure to leave a comment if you've heard of any of these bands, if you are subscribed to Flying Vinyl, if you are thinking of trying it. I would really love to get you guys' opinion on these kinds of services. You know, also if you've had negative experiences with subscription services. I think that with a lot of these services popping up, it's good to have a way of assessing them as a group and, you know, trying to decide what is worth the money and what isn't. Apart from that, thank you so much for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye! If you've seen my video from Record Store Day this year, then you'll know that I was really, really excited about the limited edition 7-inch single.